Alright fellas, let's start this episode with a question. If you had to pick, which would you rather choose, archers or skirmishers? Well, in this miniseries, we'll try and sort this age-old question out. Alright fellas, welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Fellas and ladies, I should say, as I know some wives of some of the people who watch and also some daughters. I've heard there is a significant female audience. I don't want to ignore you folks. I think that's awesome that gals want to play, some warrior women out there. We are continuing our Archer and Skirmisher series here. This is basically fighting a pair of simulated battles, or at least not simulated battles so much as identical battles, and we are going to fight with this main army of kind of mixed troops. You can see it's pretty good quality, and we're going to upgrade some troops to make it stronger here. And we're also going to fight with a partner army, right? We have two different separate armies that are with us. What we're going to do is fight the same battle twice, or at least almost an identical battle twice. Is siege defense here of Sestadheim Castle. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. I'm probably brutalizing it. And we're going to sit this army on the bench to start this first episode. Basically, this first episode, if you're not familiar with the series, is going to be mostly an archer army. This series is to sort of identify the value of archers in different situations. We are going to battle with this companion army. Appropriately, it's a female army here after I acknowledge all the women warriors out there. In fact, both of these companions are women-led armies, and they both have very high leadership and very high medicine skills. So all of our companions that are also in this series are all wearing bows. I should preface that all of them, except there's a gal or two that has a crossbow, but we've put aside our javelins for this series, including the guys who normally are better at javelins, and we're all going to wield bows for this potential siege defense. I shouldn't say potential siege defense. We are definitely going to have a siege defense here. Now, Sestadheim is down to only the militia. I purposefully took the entire garrison out of it and disbanded it because I didn't want militia playing, or excuse me, I didn't want a garrison playing a role in this battle. As you can see, there's a massive force of Sturgians here that have piled themselves up. I've been watching them come in for about 5 minutes before I saved this game, and then after this battle with all archers, or with mostly archers, we will try it with skirmishers. Of course, normal player damage for this whole series. What else can I tell you about this? This has a unique castle layout. How about that? I'm familiar with this castle from a battle long ago, and it is very unique. Now, for some reason, I can't zoom out any more than that, but look at how unique it is. It has these two wings that stick out, and of course, this was a traditional castle design where you can hammer the enemy with enfilade fire from protected locations. Now, our strategy is going to be different, right? The first battle is going to be archers, archer-heavy army. I'm going to have to configure my groups here. And the enemy does not have siege towers, so siege ladders are the threat, and the main gate is where the real battle is going to be. So I've got to look at my divisions here. There's always a minute prep before siege. Really, you guys should all be taking your time. You guys and gals should all be taking your time before siege to identify weaknesses, to assign your units, to sort of look at the layout of the keep and decide a good strategy. These archers here can protect the gate, the courtyard, and of course any of the guys coming up the ladder. They have a good companion. What I want is I want a couple of archer divisions that actually function as quasi-infantry divisions, right? I do have these crossbow. It's not nearly as many shields as I would have expected. I'm going to have to configure these units a little bit because sometimes in between these episodes, right, I'm literally saving one episode and then playing with skirmishers and then playing the next one. The units get out of whack a little bit. I see a bunch of infantry, or archers rather, mixed into our so-called infantry divisions. So I'm just sort of splitting some divisions here, getting down to the ground level and making sure that our troops are assigned to the right captain. We'll call this a military inspection before this siege. There's your example, right? It says we actually have like 30 infantry. In fact, a lot of them are militia. We don't have very many actual infantry. In fact, there's no infantry in there. That's all crossbow. So, like I said, we're going to use a crossbow division in a quasi-square. This right side here is going to be our Alamo. We're not giving up this right side. With this 4th division, they can attack, shoot, and then they can square. And that'll prevent the enemy from storming over here. If I need to, I can shove that square either down the stairs or onto the ramparts. They're slowing the enemy assault. Meanwhile, we're going to get archers spread all over the place here. This is one of the rare siege defenses where I'm going to put lots of archers on the wall. I didn't actually look to see what the enemy had for archers, and if we're getting pounded on the walls and the losses become unacceptable, I may change my strategy. But because our army is mostly archers, I figure that's one of the advantages we have. We don't have very many advantages. We're outnumbered, what was it, like 8 or 9 to 1, so we're badly outnumbered, but we have lots of archers. We're going to be able to get some wicked crossfire here, and then some of the other tactics that we've, I was going to say mastered. Let me try to be humble here. Some of the techniques that we have gained proficient skill in siege defense through the Epic Siege series are really going to help us here defend this castle. It's a beautiful layout. There's a little raised platform over here where I can put an archer division, and then I can have this heavier archer division on the left. Incidentally, that 2nd archer division, I'm already thinking about a secondary square. Because there's lots of crossbow there, that militia at the gate is going to break down. If that happens, that 2nd division will become the secondary square blocking the gate. That's a vital part of siege defense. Siege defense is one of my favorite parts of Bannerlord. It's definitely not perfect. The units don't take cover. There's rarely a secondary siege defense like a lot of castles are designed, but there's something just primal about holding out inside a location against a massive assaulting force while you and your men, fight in the pits and hold back this vicious, mean, sadistic, dyspeptic. We'll use some more adjectives for this Sturgian force. It's fun, it's stressful, it's exciting, it's strategic. I fucking love siege. And like I said, strap yourself in. These will be basically back-to-back epic sieges. I got a catapult here. I got to find if we have any exploding bombs. Now that the enemy doesn't have any siege, I'm not going to destroy their ram here. I don't want to do that because this is still an experiment. Optimally, you would get a hold of a catapult here and destroy... Oh, shit. And destroy their ram, and what would happen is the enemy here would try to come up the ladders probably for 10 or 15 minutes, and the battle would be over. The AI is simply not smart enough to back out as soon as their ram is destroyed, build 2 siege towers, build a ram, and then come back. So we're not going to do that, right? We're going to fight this battle out. Let's just go ahead and simulate that we tried to pound their ram for a while, and unsuccessfully, we were unsuccessful. It made it up to the gates, right? I'll do that for both of these video takes. So I'm not going to take some of the steps you might take if you were desperate to win this battle. Incidentally, we might be able to auto-resolve this battle with 500 troops and win. Probably not. In fact, I may do that and record it and show you the results of that. But none of that shit matters. We're going to play this siege out twice. We're here for fun. We're here for entertainment. I'm going to do some fucking swearing. And we're going to talk a little bit of tactics and siege defense all along the way. Now, these are the balls, of course, I was looking for. I didn't take a very close look at where our siege was, and I paid no attention to the positioning of them, but this is going to be more than adequate, right? I can shoot these guys, we can bob and weave, try to shoot some Manavelatons before they even get up to the gate, and then, of course, we're going to be throwing these fireballs on the guys as soon as they rush up to the ladders. For those who are not familiar with the siege sequence, they have siege ladders on both sides of these walls, both sides of the main gate, and they engage those siege ladders and try to climb them roughly when the battering ram reaches the gate. And the timing of that is the AI is trying to apply pressure to the defenders at 3 locations at the same time. It's actually pretty good coding. The unfortunate thing is it's highly predictable, right? They will send some of their very best troops onto these siege ladders at the beginning, and because they pack them, and here they come, because they pack them in so tight, These guys are fish in a barrel, and we just happen to have these explosive Greek fire grenades just to rain down holy hell on them. It's one of those situations where until they apply like a generative AI to the game, this is just going to be fact of life. Like I just fired an arrow in there. These are wasted arrow shots. Although I can shoot these guys on the ladder. There's nothing wrong with killing a few guys just trying to make their way up the ladder. But the real action is going to be these fireballs, right? I'm going to be able to rain these down. Look at how tightly packed they are. 20 guys insta-killed. A couple of lords get set fire. And this whole side here is going to be destroyed by the time I'm through with these balls, right? We already dealt a lot of damage to them. And look, the balls are barely hurting them because I killed so many guys with those first 2 or 3 throws. Now our militia combined with archers here are going to be able to do okay, but they don't have any support. There's not enough room in the citadel. There is a big rampart that kind of loops around in a big circle behind me here, but I wasn't planning on using it. At least not yet. Now there's another batch of reinforcements pouring towards the front gate, being blasted by counter siege. I'm going to try... Oh shit, there's some heavy blows over there. I hear guys screaming, getting chopped up. I'm going to throw this one last bomb into the sunset, and then we're going to race off to the other side. I'd love to... No, we're out of fire bombs here. So... The catapult guys are still doing great work. I see huge death sprays all of a sudden. The gate is not yet under pressure, and I'm going to tend to this right side here after we club a few guys here. I will be using my bow and arrow, don't worry, but of course I'll be using my fast two-handed hammer, partly because it's fun, but also because it's fucking effective, right? I just club guys in the face. You can swing it faster than almost every unit on the field, but we need to adjust this. So you see I lost. These guys either moved or died or whatever, but I want them in a big long line here where they can get enfilade fire both on the ladder, the guys coming up the ladders at us, and at the gate. You see how I can just drag these guys. I said follow me, F1, F2. And these stupid fucks are being disobedient, so we're going to have to... I should just kill a couple of these guys. Of course, that doesn't do any good. Like in real life, you might shoot a guy here in the leg and be like, I'm your commander, get the fuck up here and do what you're told, otherwise you catch an arrow in both of your calves. Alright, so these guys are finally fucking doing what they're told. Now look at that nasty enfilade fire. Now the guys here guarding the ladder have support, right? Not only do they have support from the guys behind me, but now there's a line of 30 archers raining down shots on the guys coming up these ladders. They get onto the ramparts up here, they're swinging their weapon like this guy, and you can see the arrows coming in. They're very fast, but right behind me you can just see arrows whizzing in here, and that's those archers going to work. The enemy, of course, still has elite troops. It's a very potent army they're sending in on us. My late game campaign is insane when it comes to army difficulty. This is actually not uncommon in my campaign, to have 4,000 enemies slam themselves against the walls of a city or a castle. I've seen 6, even 7. I think I've had one siege defense with 8,000, right? This is the result of a mature kingdom. This is the result of probably a mod I used a long time ago that enhanced some of the AI lords. But this is also just an extremely mature campaign. Right? The enemies have virtually unlimited gold, tons of influence, etc., etc. And the last part, of course, is that I have like 3 cities and 3 or 4 castles at this stage. I'm trying to put this secondary archer square into a square next to this other square, and the UI is giving me a hard time. If that happens and they charge out the door because it says, charge, what I do is I will form a square and say, follow me. And I do that, and then you can just stand there. If you want, you can just say stop, and they will stop right there. Now I have that secondary square. Now it's not optimal. There's some Britannian fiends in there. Optimally, you would have those guys all have shields. But I see a bunch of sergeant crossbow, and they're in there swinging their mace occasionally, but mostly trying to survive. And look at the enfilade fire, right? This is a tried and true, proven method for siege defense. Gone are the days where I used to charge these guys at the gate with units and try to bottle it up. Just stick a square there. As long as you have a good amount of archers on both sides, you can see the results, right? Now, of course, you do want to have some units that can be in melee here. I've got that archer division I may charge with. That division there, we can tell them to charge, but anybody who still has ammo in a siege keep, that means everybody who has ammo. Oh, shit. We're going to have to bail out of here and get some support. Troops, they must have overwhelmed this side. I did see our troops dying up there. this is a little bit of a problem. So these guys, if you want this 3rd Division to charge, you don't only have to tell them to charge, but you have to tell them to hold fire. And then these guys will rampage up as if their life depends on it, and that'll get them to fly into battle. Watch this. Hold fire. Suddenly all these guys turn into shock troops. This gate is slammed shut. All these guys attacking here on the left get destroyed. It's a maelstrom of swords, and that gal is one of my 300 plus two-handed companions, and just like that, the attackers are destroyed, right? It's instant. Now I got to actually pull them back because they're foaming at the mouth trying to go out the gates. We're going to stay, of course, inside our castle. And now we're going to look at our other places here. So that's a critical thing. Of course, some of the guys are like, shut the fuck up. I've already heard you say that. If you've seen a half dozen or a dozen of our epic sieges, some of these tactics are obviously familiar to you. And probably to your great benefit, right? This is something that maybe you already knew before you saw it here at Tactical Enlightenment, but it's an extremely effective tactic to have archers on enfilade fire and have a square at the gate. Now, even better if you have skirmishers, of course, that'll be the second fight. And that's going to be this same battle. Like I said before, strap yourself in. This is going to be effectively back-to-back epic sieges. It won't be as gnarly or stressful as a lot of the epic sieges, frankly, because we're going to do it twice. So the second time is going to be a little bit, I hate to say it, but it's going to be a little bit like sex that 100th time with your girlfriend. It just doesn't have the same appeal as that first time. This is one of the realities of life. I don't mean this in a nasty way, and I don't mean it negatively for the women either. By the way, the women get tired of the men. This is built into us, and that's so that we can seek the greatest majority of people to potentially procreate with. This is how nature, God, choose your deity, choose your element. It's how it designed us, right? So the second siege obviously is not going to be as exciting as the first. Hopefully that analogy doesn't bother somebody, especially you women watching, right? Your husbands, if you got good husbands, they love you anyways, even if the first time was better than the 100th time. And let me just move off that subject here before I insult somebody here and make somebody fucking angry. That is that is just the science behind it. That's why, of course, unfortunately, infidelity is so common, right? We're basically programmed to, on a primal level, to be unfaithful. We have to overcome that with philosophy, with morals, with logic, right? Incidentally, it's not that different from why we tend to overeat and use credit card debt and drink alcohol and do a bunch of other stupid behavior that seems illogical. These are primal things, right? It's why people road rage and get 50 years in prison, because they're letting their primal brain take over. All right, I'm a big student of philosophy. That's one of the last things kind of you learn in life, right? Philosophy is a very complicated subject, but as you get older, I'm going to kick this guy right off the ramparts. Bye, dude. Now I can handle his friends. As you get older, you will discover, well, I don't know if you will, but a lot of you guys will discover philosophy is one of the beauties of life, right? Trying to understand things on a more complex, systemic level. Now, incidentally, of course, once you understand that it's human nature to be out there seeking a variety of different mates, just like you understand that our body tells us to go eat food as often as possible so we don't starve when there's no food, it doesn't understand that there's a refrigerator full of food, grocery stores, and fucking fast food restaurants. When you understand that those are your bodily functions, that's your desire as a human being. I can't tell if that Botanian fiend is one of ours. Okay, that's one of ours. Sorry, dude. Somebody else did that. I'm sure that was one of these militia, dude. It wasn't me. Once you understand, though, the desires and how your brain works, obviously it's easier to deal with that, right? I understand that it's human nature to be unfaithful. Therefore, I exert a greater, we'll call it a secondary brain. If your primal mind wants you to have 10 affairs, your secondary and enlightened brain is there to back you up and say, you know what, that's really illogical. That's really harmful to my wife. I love my wife. I'm going to be faithful for a lot of different reasons, right? Whether it's your religion, your moral compass, hopefully your upbringing, you understand then that you have these innate primal desires. When someone cuts you off on the highway, it's normal for you to be like, you motherfucker, I'm going to kill you and your whole family. And then you take a deep breath and you're like, never mind, he's probably just in a hurry, right? Or maybe he's an asshole, and actually I feel sorry for the guy because he's an asshole. Instead of getting mad, I'm just going to go over to the other side of the highway here, drive slower, and let this dipshit road rage. All right, enough philosophy here. I better get back to tactics. Incidentally, if you like that kind of stuff, let me know, right? I do have these tangents I fly into. Some guys are probably like, shut the fuck up. I'm here for Bannerlord and not for that shit. But if you like that, actually, either way, if you like it or dislike it, feel free to leave feedback on that kind of stuff. If you disagree with me, that's also fine, right? There's going to be some religious people, highly religious people, that are like, well, that's the devil or whatever it is. I'm not going to argue with you. Whatever you guys believe, I'm just telling you what I believe. And that is, we are primal beings, and we have to control those primal urges through enlightened thought processes, right? We have to understand that part of love is faithfulness, and if you are ultra faithful, it's very likely your spouse will be ultra faithful as well. If you exemplify that, but also if you communicate that you will be faithful, it's very likely they will be faithful. And conversely, the other way is true. If you're a cheater, if you're out there just, your head on a swivel, looking at every single good-looking guy or good-looking gal that passes you, and you're right in front of your spouse, you're kind of asking for it, aren't you? All right, I told you I'd get off that subject. Sorry, my bad. We're going to re-engage here. So you can see what we got going on. I have this massive square up here now, and the enemy's not going to be able to push through this. There's actually infantry in our square. We have this other archer division. There's a bunch of elite troops in the archer division, and the enemy is really in a fucked position here, right? They're coming up these ladder wells, but this is perfunctory. This is absolutely superficial. These guys have 0% of taking over this side of the city because we have enfilade fire. We have elite troops here. We have a square. There's just no chance that the enemy takes over this right side. So the gate remains the biggest threat, and the only time I ever come up here is basically just to babysit these guys and make sure things are going well. I'm keeping an eye. In fact, I can see the squares starting to be overwhelmed down there, and so I'm going to pay that a little bit more attention. The gate and siege defense is almost always your greatest threat, right? And so it behooves you to prioritize that. I've got this 3rd division over here just mangling everything in sight, right? These guys are just spraying in arrows, and incidentally, they're helping us up here. That's one of my favorite things, is these guys coming up. You can role play a little bit. It's this guy's first battle, right? He's like, for glory! He's fucking charges. He's worked hard. He's been anticipating getting up the ladders, and he catches an arrow immediately in the throat. He's like, yeah, for glory! I'm dead, right? Like, war is hell. Fortunately, we have video games. Oh, shit. Trying to get some arrows here. All right. I got a bodyguard posse. I will get some arrows. Charge, hold fire. That sends those crossbowmen forward in a big angry posse. I'm just using these guys here to reload my arrows. Thank you very much, fellows. And then I'm bringing these guys back. We can get some crossfire here on the gate down there. These guys definitely have this side covered beautifully well. In fact, I'm going to steal a few of these guys, put them in the 5th, and let's drag these guys down to support the gate. And of course, incidentally, not incidentally actually, a lot of the philosophies that apply to life can be applied to Bannerlord, and a lot of them have to do with being calm. Enemy is fleeing, you have won the battle. I mean, that was a textbook destruction right there. Let's charge these bitches. Let's have some fun. Everybody roars. They get some bloodlust, right? We're going to get our violence out here so that these guys don't road rage medieval style, right? These guys will be on their horse next week if I don't let them charge here. Some guy cuts them off with the horse in the marketplace, and the next thing you know, they're splattering blood all over the fucking watermelon. Can't have that, so we're going to let these guys assault the enemy here that's fleeing. We're all fair game when it comes to killing the enemy. But just to finish that point, a lot of the same concepts on philosophy apply to Bannerlord. If you can maintain a calm and composure under duress, just like the guy who doesn't road rage, you will do better at Bannerlord because you will likely not freak out, right? Your primal brain will take over, enter fight or flight, and you will make mistakes. If you can control your primal with your secondary brain, your cultured, civilized brain, you can have results like this, right? 198 or 188 losses here, and we absolutely mangled, systematically exterminated this Battanian force. So they lost, looks like 3,900, right? 30. You experts at math are pumping out 38, 30, 80, 82 or something like that, or 28, 82, something like that, and the rest fled. So that's our bar for this second battle here. I suspect, actually, I'm not going to say anything. We shall see how the second battle goes, right? And hopefully, it's not quite as stimulating as the first time, but hopefully it's as stimulating as most epic sieges you see on YouTube. You can just go ahead and pretend like the next battle is do or die, and if we lose, Zuvan and me in person get executed, right? Some Sturgians burst through my house, my home doors here, kick in the door, and then execute me, and then there's no more episodes on Tactical Enlightenment. All right, that's a bit of a reach, but there you have it. I'm doing this strictly for the loot. I've got guys that angrily complain if I don't show you the guys the loot, so we don't want those guys to burst through my door and kill me because I didn't show the loot. So just another 10 seconds. We'll see some very exciting loot here, or maybe not so exciting loot here. Nothing too exciting. I mean, it's very exciting, right? We're going to show this exciting loot here after the battle. I apologize. My sarcasm's maybe a little thick today. And then we're going to come back. We're going to do a little editing, and we will be back with our Javelin army ready to go. Hopefully it's as stimulating as this fight. But you know my belief, right? It's probably going to be slightly less stimulating. We shall see. Maybe it'll be a lot tighter battle. Quite frankly, we ripped these Sturgians a new one with this archer army. And that doesn't terribly surprise me. All right, lickety-split. We are back with our 639 guys. Of course, we are going to reduce this army again, just like the previous episode. This time, though, we are going to bench all of our archers, right? We're going to tell all these archers, you get the day off. We don't need you guys. We're brave enough to fight this castle defense without you guys, and we're going to soldier into this battle with our archer army, right? Our other archer army here, they both have 190 troops, and maybe they don't have identical power levels, but it's pretty close, right? They have a nice mix of high-tier, mostly high-tier units, and a handful of lower to mid-tier units. So we're going to go into battle here. In fact, I can show you the other commander. Her name is Soren. This is, I believe, a sister to the character I'm currently playing now, Zuvan, and she's a leader. Look at her stats, right? That is a leader right there. She is designed to be a party leader. In fact, her combat skills are decent, but she is more designed to be a governor and a leader of men. So we are going to break in again, just like that first battle. We're going to engage here, but there's something I want to show you guys. It's been on my mind. People ask me all the time, how do you have so many javelins? And what are you using like weak javelins for? Well, let me explain. So Zuvan has very high throwing skill, and if you play Bannerlord enough, you will learn, especially once you get to about 300 skill, well, definitely at 250 skill plus, and your throwing skill, suddenly you're doing massive damage even to armored, shielded opponents. So the question is why don't I wield better javelins? You can see in the item numbers, they're colored. The only thing that's green for the large bag of hooked javelins is the stack amount. That is all I care about, because let's be honest, if a guy's going to die from one javelin almost every single hit, why do you need even more damage, right? So I tossed my ego aside. I don't need to do 600 points of damage with my javelins, and now I only have large bags for Zuvan. Conversely, my lower skilled companions, this gal normally wields a bow. For this series, this archer javelin series, obviously every other fight we are switching out her bow and giving her javelins. Well, her throwing skill sucks. So if I gave her large bags of shitty javelins, she would not be killing guys with one shot. I mean, a lot of her shots, of course, get blocked by shields because she doesn't have the perk at 250. The bottom line to all that is that's an important thing. Once you get to 250, you don't have any interest anymore in bags of 5 javelins. Honestly, just go get some hooked javelins or some tier 2 large bags of fish harpoons or whatever the fuck. Of course, large bags of Jereeds are nice, but it's extremely rare where Zuvan doesn't kill a guy with one shot with a javelin. Very rare, even an armored shielded knight, right? So I want lots of ammo with all the other perks. That gives me the maximum amount of capacity to throw javelins in a battle like this. All right, so we'll divide some of our captains here. Now, I've done this a few times before. I'm just not able to skip this part here. It would be too confusing, and you would miss out on some of the vital components of this. This is basically my keep strategy, with this javelin-heavy army. You could see it looks like we have 40 archers. So we have 208 infantry and 40 archers, and we're going to try to hold this citadel. Now, here's the biggest problem. you run out of javelins, right? It's the one thing in the game while throwing axes, all your throwing weapons, you run out in keep defense. Your crossbow bolts are unlimited and your arrow bolts are unlimited as well. The game, even for the NPCs, it just considers them, you know, able to run over to the arrow barrels or whatever the fuck they are. But your javelins are limited. So we have a problem here. We basically, we're like some of those Marines at Okinawa and whatnot. They were running out of ammo at times, right? Maybe it wasn't Okinawa. It was some of those other battles in World War II. They're literally running out of ammo and having to conserve ammo. That's our problem here. So we have these archers. We're going to put one on both wings, one of these divisions on both wings. But these are weak archers, right? We don't have any good archers because our army just doesn't have a lot of good archers, right? So we've got militia. This is very suboptimal. We may have a handful of Battanian Fiends. I suppose they're probably mixed into some of our divisions, or they will come in on reinforcements. Now, what we do have is we have lots and lots of javelins, and we have lots and lots of infantry. The question is can you obtain almost a 10-to-1 kill ratio with infantry, right? Because we're outnumbered, just like the first battle, something like 9-to-1, 8-to-1, or something like that. So the second division, we're going to use these guys, of course, right here. The square is going to be at the gate, and I'm going to slightly offset it. You can actually sort of twist the angle sideways. I want that so that the enemy sort of sneaks around the edges there and attacks that square, and then we can pound them with javelins. Now the third division, this is going to be commanded by Zuvan. With his elite perks and decreased melee attack damage, this square is going to hold this bastion up here, right? We're going to stick them up here on this wall. I actually see a few militia archers mixed in there. That's okay. We're going to stick this square up here just like that first battle and try to reduce the flow of enemies off these ladders, right? They're going to pour up the ladders. We got to slow that. Over here, we have the 6th Division, and they're going to be in a shield wall, throwing javelins at the guys as they come up the wall. Again, initially, I may hold fire. It'll kind of depend on what's going on. Lastly, I have the 7th Corps. Well, actually, I have the 8th Corps too, but the 7th Corps can go there and also bolster this left side. And this Archer Division, this 4th Division, I'm going to have to place manually over here myself. It won't let me do it pre-battle, so I'm going to run over there on my horse and adjust those guys. The last thing we have is our 8th Corps, and I'm just going to put them on this ramp here. They're going to be an auxiliary, oh shit, break glass in case of an emergency type of division, and they can spread out right there, able to throw javelins. All right, things look pretty good. Of course, we're going to try to get to those catapults. We're going to try to launch down some bolts on them, or launch down some bombs on them, and see if we can't pull this out. This is going to be harder. You know, I sorry if that's a trailer, you know, a preview, but think about it, right? One of the keys to a battle like this is having arrows raining down on the enemy, and we have like 40 militia holding their little tiny weak bows. This is not optimal, to say the least. So I'm going to adjust this other Archer Corps over here. It's the 5th Corps. We will spread these guys, now stop. We will spread these guys out on these walls up here because we're trying to have some sort of enfilade fire on the enemy. Come on, boy, figure it out. Yeah, they're going the wrong way. That's all right. We will stretch these guys out here and hurry back over to that other catapult. I'm in a little bit of a hurry here because I want to inflict as much damage as possible. In fact, fuck it, we're jumping. Got this incredible horse. Of course, a horse would probably break their legs right there. Like, that's not a thing, but, you know, we're playing game. Realism is never part of most video games. I think even in RBM, your horse can jump like 20 feet in the air and still land and keep running. I don't think that's a thing. I'm not like an equine master. I don't have like a horse that I ride, but I'm pretty sure a horse can't jump 20 or 30 feet, land, and keep running. All right, anyways, we'll get off our fucking complaint box today. Let's fire some fucking explosive rounds in here. Now, I don't know if it's just the variation, but these guys are doing a lot more damage to the ram, and that's fucking with my plans here, right? I'm trying to, in fact, they just destroyed it. I'm trying to have sort of limited or very minor variabilities between these two runs, and of course, if they destroy the ram, the only access they have is through these towers. So we're gonna help them out here. This is a little bit of contriving. We're basically gonna give the enemy a break here because I don't think they have any chance of taking this citadel with only the ladders. Anybody who's been in a castle siege before, if you are able to destroy their ram, like I mentioned in the first battle, extraordinarily difficult for the enemy to get a purchase in your keep, right? You meat wall them at the at the ladder heads, and the enemy really is fucked. So I don't know if that door will stay open, but we're going to try to effectively let the enemy in here. We're just going to go ahead and simulate that the ram actually did make it, and that the enemy is pouring through the front, just like the first battle. Somebody's still up there on the catapult, killing masses of troops, so that's good. This doesn't look particularly good, though. The enemy is storming up on these ladders, so we'll open fire with the 6th, and I'm going to help these guys out. These archers are shooting here, but they're militia, right? These guys do, I mean, you guys have all been shot by militia probably. 4, 2, 7, they just don't do much damage. They have unlimited plinking damage, right? These guys, 4 at a time. We're definitely going to have to do a lot of hand-to-hand to win this siege. I'm going to be getting dirty for sure in this battle. All right, they've already devoured that one division. That's not a good sign. The enemy, of course, has very high-end troops. Every single troop here is a tier 5 or 6. They're ignoring me, which is about one of the dumbest things you can do. Very low chance to survive Bannerlord battle for the enemy if they let the guy with 330, that guy went flying, with 332 hand skill just wail away on their troops. Their position is untenable, so let's go ahead and stretch them out in a line here. This whole side might be untenable. Again, I don't have the archer support. You guys have seen it in battles where we do epic siege and we have 70 archers, guarding one of the sides. The enemy just is insta-killed coming up the ladders. Here, they're really giving me a hard time. I'm having to fight my way just to get to the other side because the militia just are not doing much damage. In fact, I can hear them grunting as the militia hits them, right? It's like, ugh, they're getting hit for 6, and they keep charging. In fact, these guys are all over me. Fuck off. Fuck you, too. We'll do a little Superman shit and just jump around these motherfuckers. All right, open fire here on the 3rd Corps. We're going to have to start letting everybody fire. The 2nd Corps is down there. They can fire. The 5th Corps is up here with archers. They're going to provide a little bit of support, and this is vital, right? I'm going to be able to blow up a lot of their troops here with these bombs. We're going to have to kill a lot of these troops with siege. That's all there is to it. I guess in a way, you know, I gave you a false warning. I said this siege wasn't going to be exciting. Here's a little treat, a little sneak trailer here. Clearly, this is going to be harder than the first battle. Archers immolated everything in sight. This battle is going to be hard, very hard. I can just tell the enemy has tons of elite troops. We just don't have enough archers. So I'm kind of giving away sort of the punchline. This siege for sure is going to be one that favors archers. And if you're keeping track, and I don't know why you would, but if you're keeping track, this will give archers 3 wins in the series so far and 2 wins for the skirmishers. Right, the archers dominated. Anyways, I won't tell you which episodes they won, but it's already over, right? I can just tell you the archers are going to do better than our motley crew. The question now in this battle is no longer whether or not the archers or the skirmishers are going to do better. It's can we win this siege with only skirmishers, right? With only infantry. Right now, I would say it's very challenging. It looks very challenging. Right now it looks okay, but we're expending javelins, right? Our guys are getting low on javelins, and the enemy, of course, is going to be bringing vanguard after vanguard up the ranks. Bet they got reinforcements already. Here they come. In fact, speak of the devil. Look, it's just a giant horde of troops, and because I helped them out, they are pouring through the front gate, right? They're going to be... Well, actually, I'm not sure. I can't tell if the gate's open from here, but I think the gate is still open. They're running for it, so it's probably open. So I can just tell this is not tenable either. My archers, I don't even see them killing guys here. I barely even see arrows coming in here, probably because they have too many targets. They're also shooting at shields. A lot of these guys have shields, and so it's plink, 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 and my companions are being just pounded here. I'm holding this square here ostensibly to help with this side, but we need more firepower over here. Let's call, what do we have? I got the 8th. We could put the 8th up here, but a lot of those guys are out of javelins too, and this is what I was just talking about. We are now Marines in Okinawa. Choose your island. You World War II experts. I don't know my islands that well, but it was a series of like 3 or 4 islands in a row where it was just absolutely ruthless, bloody fighting against this Japanese opponent that was going to fight to the death, right? They were not giving up. At the time, you know, American citizens kind of saw that with horror. Oh shit, we've got a full-on breach here. That was quick. I don't know how it breached so fast, but the enemy just blew up the gate. We got to get troops down here. Hold that thought. Holy fuck. What do we got here? 67. This is the 1st Division coming in. All right, let's spread archers out here on the enemy's flank. But the gate is being completely swarmed. Let's try to block that route with the 8th Corps. God damn, they're pouring in here. And this is probably, again, a result of not having enough archers. Breaches like this are obviously highly problematic in a siege. Archer support should be coming, though. They should be setting up behind me, and these guys will start shooting. In fact, I see the arrows starting to fly, so maybe we've been able to contain it. I mean, we're certainly dealing the enemy a savage blow here. Just like that guy I trucked like 4 feet with my hammer. It's not like the enemy's just walking over us, but again, the enemy has almost 10 times as many troops than us, and they have destroyed this square. I can't get this square to shove to the gate. They can't push their way through. There's too many defenders here. They're getting attacked the whole time. Let's see. All right. I just told you don't panic in moments like this, so we're not going to panic, right? It's not. It doesn't do you any good to panic here. So we're going to fight our way over here, right? I'm basically going to try to shove a hole for these guys by trying to clip the guys that are in their way and drag this square over here. The square looks like it's melting, though, so we may need another batch of units to stand in here as a square. God, they are zerging our archers. They are zerging all of our units. So those guys can't shoot. Okay, more reinforcements. This is the 1st Division. Let's get these guys at the gate. It's not a good sign that we've gone through all our reinforcements already. I'm physically trying to drag them. The UI is giving me a hard time. I can't quite seem to place them where I want them. And here comes another breach. The enemy storms in 1,000 at a time. So that means they swallowed up that other square. Come with me. Let's try to drag them there. The archers are fighting for their life. Everybody charge and hold fire. That'll send every single one of those guys into battle. And I can't seem to click where I want this square. I'm going to have to manually drag it, which is not my fault. That's a UI problem. I'm getting fucking smashed in the face with an axe. I still have 1/3 of my health, though. We're not defeated. Get over here, square. It just refuses every time it tries to make my square attack. And of course, every time it does that, we lose troops, because instead of holding up their shield and trying to defend, it's making these guys charge. I just can't control it. This is not really my fault, but I'm not going to whine like a bitch. It is what it is. The square has established themselves, and these archers charging really devoured all the forces in the courtyard. The enemy's not completely dead here, but we fucked them up pretty bad. I'm just going to have this square follow me and then stand still. I told you guys you could do this before. Look at, even these guys are charging. So the UI is really conspiring here. If you can't seem to position a unit, right, because it's saying charge every time, in other words, it's you clicking on the enemy units, what you do is you have them follow you until, oh shit, stabbed in the face while I'm giving orders. You call them to where you want, and tell them to stop, F1, F6, and then say square, and they will square roughly where you told them to. All right, another archer division. Let's split this. Let's fucking win this battle. I'm still fucking winning this. Fuck you. Let's spread out the 4th Corps. Of course, this one's giving me a UI problem too. And the gals out there are like, a UI problem? And that means something very different to women, by the way, than men. You got a UI problem? My wife's like, how dare you fucking say that to them? And I'm like, just relax. Women almost universally deal with that shit. Of course, she wouldn't actually care. I've got one of the coolest wives on earth. All right, so now we have archers on both sides. The square is established, but it's small. It is causing the enemy to swarm it, though, and our archers are starting to rake. We have some basic ingredients here for some success. Shit, these guys are getting attacked. Let's see. I need one more division to be a square here to cover this right side. So let's split these guys. Fuck off. All right, let's move these guys into a square. I've got these 2 other divisions, too. Let's bring another square here. Let's do a triple square, because the thing we need to do the most is get these archers working and get these squares bottling up the enemy. We don't want them stopped coming in. We just need them slowed down. I think that'll do it. Now the enemy's coming through like a pocket between the squares, and they're being raked. The enemy's having their own kind of UI problems. For the guys wondering what the fuck I'm talking about, I'll just tell you. It's called a urinary tract infection. Right? This is something that I think guys can get as well, but it's a lot more common, I think, with women. All right, enough of this gynecological shit. We will avoid that stuff. We're back to Bannerlord, right? We're back to playing a game and not talking about internal body medicine. We've already done philosophy on this episode, right? We've done genetics and evolution. What else can we talk about? All right, the squares are doing their bit, and we're mashing the enemy, but these square guys are not impervious, right? They're being pounded on, and we've suffered so many losses in this battle so far. I don't think there are any more reinforcements coming. No militia, nobody else is coming to our aid. It's just us. So we're going to have to fight like mad dogs to win this siege. I've got the 4th Division there. Those guys have a pretty good line of sight. The arrows are fucking scorching the enemy every time they try to come up. They get shot. I've got just enough health to wade in here. Okay, this division, unless they're routing, this wave is destroyed. Of course, more are coming. I can see them in the corner of my eye. Let's, maybe I can split some of those archers. I want one more square down here. Let's see what we can do here. For now, it's working, but I gotta manifest another square. I'm gonna have to steal, I'm gonna have to rob Peter to pay Paul here. We're gonna have to steal a few units from one of these archer divisions, preferably a crossbow division. I see you coming for me, motherfucker, trying to stab me. We're gonna have to get another square here. That way it's a little more bottled up. What do we got here? The 5th, there's a couple crossbow in there. The 7th, those are all archers. So let's steal from the 5th. Let's make it a 1st division. We'll shove one more square right in the middle here, and hope if one of the other squares starts to break down, that these 3 squares now collectively, this square here, I think it's the 2nd division. It's almost all companions, and they are completely bloody. I mean, they've been fighting the whole battle just like me. They probably have the same kind of health, like a quarter. The 4th is ripping it. I want to get them just a little better of an angle. Well, so I'm wrong, right? This is a little different feel than that first siege, right? This feels stressful. This feels epic. This feels like a real dramatic siege defense, right? We're down to our last probably 70 guys, 80 guys, and the enemy has probably thousands left, right? Maybe 1,500 or 2,000. So the stress and strain is on. I lied to you fellas. It's still exciting. And you guys are like, well, what about all your other philosophies? Maybe, maybe sex will be just as awesome 40 years married with my wife than it was the first time. You guys can go ahead and believe whatever you'd like to believe, right? I will not comment anymore on that subject in case I get very angry wives or husbands jump in the comments section. Yeah, this 2nd square broke down. I think both those squares broke down. And just like that, this siege is over. There's no more troops to bring in a square here. And this siege defense is a loss. Well, so you can't get any more definitive as that, right? The first battle with mostly archers, right? We had probably 80% archers. We absolutely eviscerated the enemy. Here, we had mostly skirmishers, in other words, very few archers, and we had our asses ripped a new one. I'm going to go up here and enjoy the sunset here as we do a little recap, but needless to say, this round goes to the archers, right? This gives the archers a 3-2 lead in the exciting scoring of this series. Of course, we're not trying to come up with anything empirically here. That was one of the rare cases where my javelin didn't kill a guy. Just blew up his shield. And there you have it. All right. Well, fortunately, these are just exhibitions, right? This is not my campaign. Zuvan's not going to get captured and executed. If you missed the epic siege from some time ago where he was executed, you definitely want to check out that episode. I believe it's episode 10 in the Epic Siege series. If you like Epic Siege, and this is the first episode on our channel you've watched, well, you're in for a treat, because we have many epic sieges on the channel. In fact, this would qualify as sort of a run-of-the-mill siege, right? 4,000 enemies. We've had, like I said before, we've had 5, 6, 7, even 8,000 enemies pounding on our door. I love Epic Siege, and so I'm not I'm not shy about sharing some of the epic sieges I've had. Like I said before, it's a stressful, straining element. It's very primal. It's the enemy at the gates, and you and your strongest men doing everything you can mentally and physically to keep these fucks out. Look at these wildlings. God, they had an incredible kill ratio. What is that? 8 to 1? 9 to 1? But that's what we needed in this battle, right? We needed 9 to 1 across the board, and obviously we didn't achieve that. All infantry, siege defense fail here. At this really beautiful, picturesque castle. Really well designed. Thank you, Tale Worlds, for creating some of these maps. We all know the game's not perfect, but man, that was fun. I mean, don't you just want to have, like, you know, don't you want to be like a captain living in the year 1200 and you're assigned to be like the wall commander to this city or this castle? It would be awesome. The air would probably be fresh. There's no fucking industrial revolution yet. There's no I guess you got all the other shit. I can hear you guys saying, yeah, but the average life expectancy was 35. You're right. We have this idyllic view of the medieval era when it was anything but, right? Rape was common, like it was unreported. In many cases, it was like barely illegal. These poor women, there were diseases everywhere. You slept with your cows. Maybe it wouldn't be so great. But hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Hopefully you considered this episode great. That was a lot of fun for me to try these 2 sieges. Of course, you want to subscribe to the channel if you love this shit. I appreciate you fellas. Please leave comments, all that stuff. Let me know what you think. And I will see you guys and gals next time.